Does anyone have a question? USEC Roque para kay Dr. Lulu. Bravo.
Yes, yes, Secretary Roque. Good morning. Good afternoon, Dr. Bravo. Question from Ace Romero. Do you think there is a chance that the Philippines will return to pre-COVID-19 setup or the old normal? If yes, when?
Actually, dapat sabi nga nila we should live with this virus for at least 1 or 2 years more. Kasi sabi nga natin, matagal bago matapos ang mga bakuna. Kung ikaw ay magkakaroon ng bakuna dito sa Pilipinas, ang tinitingnan nga natin, ina-anticipate natin baka next year hindi pa tayo makakuha ng tamang bakuna na gusto nating ibigay sa mga Pilipino. Dahil nga maghahabulan yan, mag-aagawan sa mga supply, and that is why WHO is trying to have equity. Hindi pa tayo magkakaroon agad-agad ng bakuna kung ang kukunin natin ay yung talagang pinaka-safe na dumaan sa magandang pag-aaral, di ba? So, kailan tayo mag-new normal? We just have to be optimistic, pray that we do not transmit the virus. The way to go forward is suppress and stop the virus from being transmitted. Diba? Yun ang sabi ng WHO. Stop that virus, suppress it. And how do you suppress the transmission? Wearing the mask, washing hands, physical distancing. And sooner or later, pag dumating yung vaccine at makakabigay tayo to at least 60% of the people, sa ngayon 10% na raw ang posibleng nagkaroon, diba? So plus 60%, 70% na mabakunahan. We need 70% for herd immunity. Alam mo naman yung herd immunity, ibig sabihin nun, pag lahat merong bakuna or nagkasakit na, 70%, posibleng magbaba na ang pag-transmit ng disease at hindi na tayo magkaroon ng maraming sakit. And that was what you will wait for to come back to a new normal, to a normal. And it will not be very soon.
Yes, a question from Laila Salaveria of Inquirer, Dr. Bravo. What's the reason for the vaccine hesitancy, and what must be done to restore confidence in vaccine use? Will this vaccine hesitancy affect COVID-19 vaccine trials?
Actually, totoo yan. Tayo sa Pilipinas ngayon ang kinukonsider na highest vaccine hesitancy level. At nung tayo ay mag-COVID, yung low immunization coverage natin hindi naka-bounce back. Kaya ngayon nagmi-measles and polio campaign ulit ang DOH, di ba? Meron sila ngayon, starting today hanggang November, measles ulit at saka polio kasi dahil mababa pa rin ang immunization coverage, anytime posible tayong magkaroon ng measles outbreak. At yan ay dahilan, alam natin, noong 2015, ang taas ng ating coverage reaching 80%. Ngayon, 50% pa lang. And that is really so discouraging kung hindi tayo gagawa ng paraan para dumami ulit ang mababakunahan ng measles. Kasi anytime pwede yan because of the low coverage. Anong gagawin natin? Magtulong-tulong tayo. Dahil yun nga sabi ko dun sa slide ko, the doctors are trying to unite and restore vaccine confidence. Kaya nga ako, maski anong oras tawagan nyo ako, basta ang pag-uusapan natin ay mag-communicate tayo ng tamang pamamaraan. I can talk for hours about why we did have a vaccine hesitancy. Nag-umpisa yan sa Dengvaxia. You know all that. Lagi nyo akong tinatanong kung minsan pag nasa conference ako. Yan ho bang COVID? Magiging Dengvaxia? Sabi ko maling tanong yan dahil ang Dengvaxia ay isang magandang bakuna na dumaan sa mga proseso at walang namatay nung binavaccine trial ang Dengvaxia. Dumating yan sa Pilipinas as a good vaccine. Pero alam nyo na naman ang nangyari, ang Dengvaxia ginagamit sa 22 bayan na merong malataas na or merong presence of dengue. Ang Pilipinas ang may pinakamataas na dengue dito sa parte na ito ng mundo. Kailangan natin ng bakuna. We have actually appealed that this be given back to the Filipinos. But anyway, I will not talk about that. Ang gusto ko lang malaman para mag-demand tayo. Kaming mga doktor, gusto namin magkaroon tayo ng tinatawag na National Immunization Technical Advisory Group or NITAG na magiging pader natin para makagawa ng magandang desisyon tungo sa ano bang bakuna ang dapat gawin, dapat hindi gawin. Well, gawin din kasi hindi pa tayo gumagawa ng vaccine. Anong bakuna ang dapat nating ilagay sa ating mga tao dito, sa ating mamamayan? Sino ang uunahing bigyan ng bakuna when a COVID vaccine is here, even for dengue? Ang tinatawag doon ay NITAG, NITAG, National Immunization Technical Advisory Group, which is independent of the Department of Health. These are composed of multidisciplinary scientist people. Yun ang dapat nating makita kasi yun ang makakapagbigay ng kompidensya ng ating mga tao na ang nagdidesisyon ng kanilang bakuna ay yung talagang mga scientists, mga academician, mga merong talagang, sabi nga ni Sir Harry kanina, diba? Yung nag-aaral talaga tungkol sa bakuna at merong karapatan para maging eksperto sa decision making. Diba? NITAG, actually, nai-propose na namin yan sa Congress at sa Senate para makakuha tayo ng ganitong NITAG. Sabi nga namin, sana si Sir Harry, pwede bang magkaroon tayo ng parang ganyan, presidential order na you can have an independent multidisciplinary. Sa Amerika, yan ang ginagawa 15 people vote to put a vaccine in the National Immunization Program. Yung ACIP, you can Google it, American Committee on Immunization Practices. Nagbobotohan sila. Talagang meron silang mga expertise para gawin ang tamang desisyon.
Yes.
So yun lang. Sana in the
Doctor,
future we can have
a
that.
question from Celerina Monte of Manila Shimbun. Ito po ang tanong niya sa inyo. You earlier indicated that Philippines, especially President Duterte, should be careful with Chinese COVID-19 vaccine. Should we also be cautious with the Russian vaccine? Does it mean we should rely more on US-developed vaccines, if ever?
Well, the thing is, we should rely on the scientific data that will be produced. Hindi ko naman sinasabing masama yung Chinese vaccine. Ang sinasabi ko is until such time that we can see and the experts will be able to really hihimay-himayin yan. Titingnan nila maganda ba talaga yan. Now, as of now, I know for a fact that ang advance in phase 3 studies yung Pfizer at Moderna at even the people there at CNN, pag nakikinig ka, yung talaga ang may magandang transparent, di ba? We need to be transparent. Di ba? Tinitigil nga nila yung kanilang test pag may nakita sila na medyo hindi maganda, unexplained illness. Di ba? Tinitigil nila temporarily and then iimbestigahan and then they will decide kung continue kung yung sakit nun hindi naman related to the vaccine. That is also what we do in clinical trials. Ini-stop o tinitingnan muna, iniimbestiga pag may nangyari sa pasyente. Hindi yung basta sige, bigay ka lang ng bigay, then pagkatapos mo, yun You need the expertise, you need the science, you need the data to be able. And right now, the more advanced vaccine development is the Pfizer with the genetic mRNA, di ba? At saka yung Astra, Johnson's & Johnson's. They have already come up with almost 30,000 participants as volunteers. Volunteers yan hindi yung binigay mo lang yung vaccine tapos hindi mo ipa-follow up. Ang importante sa volunteers, na-follow up sila. Nakikita mo weekly kung sila ay nagkakasakit o hindi. Ganyan ang clinical trial. Hindi mo basta i-inject and then papawalan mo na. No way. You do that every week. I-check mo yung pasyente. Kaya maganda rin na mag-volunteer kasi naaalagaan ka talaga at na-protektahan ka pa kung effective yung vaccine, di ba? So I will join every frontliner, yung mga malaki ang risk to really join the volunteer, to be a volunteer sa COVID vaccine. Kami aalagaan namin kayo.
Last question na lang po from Heidi Sangpang. Sang-ayon ba si Dr. Lulu na magtalaga si Pangulong Duterte? Kung sang-ayon ba si Dr. Lulu na magtalaga si Pangulong Duterte ng vaccine czar?
Well, hindi natin sasabihin vaccine czar. Pwedeng, kumbaga, merong chair, diba? Pero a National Immunization technical advisory committee can form a whole group of multidisciplinary scientists and doctors. Meron diyang epidemiologist, meron diyang pediatrician, meron diyang infectious disease, microbiologist, pharmacist, meron dyan na public health person, meron diyang even nurses, meron diyang housewife. Parang nakikita mo yung gamot of, yung mothers na medyo may alam din at nag-train tungkol sa bakuna. Yung grupong yon, okay, and this is called NITAG, yung grupong yon are all experts. Meron syempreng chair yan, di ba? Lagi namang may chair. Di man pwedeng wala. In fact, may structure yan. Pero when you make a decision, it is a decision of a whole group of people, not just one person. That is the essence of this. That this is a big decision that is done by real scientists and experts. Yun
Ma'am?
lang.
Okay.
Oo.
Thank you, Dr. Bravo.
Thank you, Dr. Bravo. Ma'am, normally the President watches our press briefing, and I have no reason to doubt that he was able to listen to you. But just in case hindi po niya napanood tayo, if I could ask you to do a video recording, mga 5 minutes, on what you want to propose to the President in view of one vaccine SAR. And I assure you that it will reach him tonight, no, when we meet. So if you can send me po your video message to the President, and we will submit it to him tonight. Thank you.
I will do that because for the longest time, in fact, I think as early as 2010, we already proposed this. 2010, actually. We proposed that a NITAG that is really a decent one, that will be independent, multidisciplinary, be done so that hindi tayo magpuput ng blame kung kani-kanino. Di ba?
Okay.
Ganun ng Amerika, ganun ng Thailand, ganun ng Singapore. Ang daming mga progresibong country sa bakuna ang merong ganyang tinatawag na NITAG. Sa Pilipinas, medyo sabi nila may immunization
Ondulo.
committee pero hindi
Ondulo
namin
si
nakikita
Joyce,
talaga yung the actual function being done by a NITAG.
Okay,
Na
ma'am.
independent sila.
Okay. Thank you. I shall await your video recording po, just in case the President did not watch us now. But normally po, he does watch. So thank you very much, Dr. Lulu Bravo, and we hope we can count on your support again. I hope you can appear again before this presidential press briefing. Magandang umaga po, Dr. Lulu Bravo.
Thank
We
you
now-
very much. Thank you for having me.
Thank you po. Bago po tayo pumunta sa Q&A, I have a copy of the DOJ opinion addressed to Attorney Dante A. Hiran. Ang DOJ opinion po says, wala pong impediment na makipagkasundo ang PhilHealth sa PNRC to provide delivery of health services gaya ng COVID testing. According to the opinion of the DOJ, under Section 6 Service Coverage of RA number 11223, yung ating batas na isinulong po, Universal Healthcare, meron pong kapangyarihan ang PhilHealth na makikontrata sa kahit sinong healthcare institution, professionals, other persons, judicial or natural, regarding delivery po of health services. Sa second issue naman po, yung kung po pwede ba yung nangyari na nagkaroon ng advance payment sa PhilHealth, ang sabi po ng Secretary of Justice ng DOJ, I will quote, with respect to the advance cash payment of 100 million pesos, the advance cash payment requires approval of the President of the Philippines. It is not clear from the documents submitted to us whether such authority had been obtained. Nonetheless, even if the PHIC failed to get such approval prior to remitting the amount to the PRC, we are of the opinion that such may still be obtained post facto. So po pwedeng kunin pa rin po ang approval ng ating Presidente. Ito po yung pinaka-importante. Payment of PRC billings. Basahin ko na lang po. Baka magkamali kung di ko basahin. As regards your query on whether the PHIC is legally obligated to immediately pay the PRC billings, We regret that we cannot give an opinion on the matter since there are no facts given on which we can base our opinion, particularly on the completeness of the requirements and compliance with accounting and auditing rules and procedures. So ang pinag-uusapan po ngayon, dapat bang bayaran ng buo or partial? Ang sabi po ng DOJ, they cannot render an opinion because this is subject to completeness of requirements and in compliance with accounting and auditing rules and procedures. Ano pong update? Habang wala pa pong kasunduan na magtutuloy ang Philippine National Red Cross sa pagbibigay ng COVID-19, gumagawa naman po ng hakbang ang DOH. Nakikipag-usap po sila ngayon as we speak now to 8 private labs to assist our OFWs and returning Filipinos dahil hindi naman po pwede na maantala ang pag-uwi ng ating mga OFWs and returning Filipinos. Now, we go to Joyce Balancio, please, for our open forum. Joyce?
Yes, good afternoon, Secretary Roque. Is the President still in Davao City where he is monitoring ito nga pong effects ng Typhoon Quinta, and what are his orders to our calamity response?
Well, yes, he is in Davao. We will not be able to join the President because the airport of Davao was closed to all incoming flights. We will proceed with our meeting with him via Zoom. At inaasahan pa rin po na magre-report ang ilang miyembro ng gabinete, lalong-lalo na po dito sa quarantine classifications. No? Binasa ko lang po kanina kung ano po yung naging guidelines ng NDRMMC sa lahat ng lokal na pamahalaan. Mag-preposition na ng relief goods, magkaroon na ng evacuation centers kung saan susundin ang minimum health standards, gaya ng pagsuot ng mask at ng face shields. At meron din pong reminder ang NDRMMC sa lahat ng lokal na pamahalaan. Lahat po ng mga sintomas, kinakailangan i-isolate po sa mga evacuation centers. Pero hindi po kinakailangang i-test ng PCR.
Alright, so pwede pa natin ma-expect later si Pangulong Duterte, he will be announcing the new quarantine classifications for November?
Yes, in fact, I can confirm that at 10 a.m. today, the IATF started their meeting. Baka hindi pa po natatapos ngayon. Pero in the meeting, a recommendation was made already by the technical working group that normally does the recommendations of the President on the quarantine classifications.
All right, sir, ang Presidential Anti-Corruption Commission said that they will submit to the President the list of lawmakers who are allegedly involved in the corruption inside the DPWH, but the PACC said they will leave it to the President if he wants to name these lawmakers in public. Is the President willing or is he planning to name these lawmakers?
Iwan na po natin yung desisyon na yan kay Presidente. Sa aking pagkakaalam, wala pa pong nasusumite ang PACC kay Presidente as of now.
Okay, last na lang po for me, Secretary, follow-up dun sa opinion ng Department of Justice kasi dalawang lawyers from PhilHealth reported to the PhilHealth Board na ito nga daw po memorandum of agreement between PhilHealth and the Philippine Red Cross was highly irregular and it provided preferential treatment allegedly to the Philippine Red Cross at hindi daw po mandated ang PhilHealth to pay for COVID-19 testing, and the giving of advance payment to PRC ay illegal disbursement and malversation of public funds. So how will this affect the payment of PhilHealth to Red Cross, or yung DOJ opinion na rin po ba ang susundan mismo ng PhilHealth?
Well, PhilHealth as a member of the executive branch of government should legally heed the opinion of the DOJ, subject to the caveat, of course, that only the courts can say with definiteness, whether or not there will be criminal responsibility, because that is a judicial function already. But I think the men and women of the PhilHealth Board can already be accorded the defense of good faith because they waited for a legal opinion from the DOJ, and the DOJ said there is no infirmity when they entered into the MOA. But ang DOJ po said they cannot issue an opinion whether or not it should be paid because it should be subject to completeness of requirements and, of course, subject to existing accounting and COA rules.
All right, thank you, Secretary Roque.
Thank you po. USEC Roque. Thank you, Joyce.
Yes. Question from Chris Jose of Remate Online. Ano daw reaksyon niyo po sa naging apela ni Senior Citizen Party List Representative Ompong Ordanes kay Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte na isama ang senior citizen sa may edad na hanggang 70 years old sa listahan ng mga maaring payagang lumabas ng bahay. Nakakaalarma na raw kasi na 3 mula sa 10 matatandang Pilipino ang dumaranas ngayon ng depression. Sa tingin niyo po, mapagbibigyan ng pamahalaan ang kahilingan ni Congressman Ordonez na sa Disyembre payagan na makalabas sa mga senior citizens na ang edad ay hanggang 70?
Well, nung minsan po, pinresent ko dito yung datos doon sa clinical fatality rate, no? At lumalabas po talaga na napakataas po talaga ng fatality rate mula po sa mga 66 hanggang 80. Sila po talaga yung namamatay dahil sa COVID-19. So para rin po ito sa kabutihan ng mga senior citizen na pwede naman po silang lumabas para kumuha ng essentials at para magtrabaho kung sila yung nagtatrabaho. Pero as a matter of general rule, kinakailangan po homeliners muna po sila. Although sa Boracay, pwede sila magpunta kasi wala pong age restriction ng pagpunta ng Boracay.
Ang second question po niya, may suggestion po si Senate President Pro Tempore Ralph Recto sa Malacañang na magtalaga ng vaccine SAR para matiyak daw na mababakunahan ng 110 milyong Pilipino sa oras na maging available ang COVID-19 vaccine. Sinabi pa na ni Senator Recto na ang vaccine SAR daw ang makakalutas ng importation to injection challenges, lalo pa ang mga mayayamang bansa na nag-finance ng development ng COVID-19 vaccines ang unang makakakuha ng supply. Sino sa tingin niyo po ang karapat-dapat na maging vaccine czar?
Alam niyo po, the suggestion is very well taken. In fact, 2 months ago, I recall na si Presidente may tinalagang vaccine SAR. Kaya nga lang po, yung natalagang vaccine SAR is hesitant when I asked him if I could remind the public that he has been designated as vaccine SAR kasi baka hindi na raw po naalala ni Presidente, so he would like to wait for the President to make the announcement anew. Pero malinaw po yan, yung vaccine SAR, as Senator Recto said, is to make sure na meron tayong capability to import and distribute, no, including provision for cold storage. Pero as far as yung regulatory approval naman for the use of vaccine, si Dr. Lulu Bravo just recommended that it be left to a body para hindi lang isang tao ang nagdidesisyon.
Thank you, Secretary.
Thank you. Punta naman tayo kay Trish Terada, CNN Philippines.
Hi, good afternoon, Secretary. Sir, related question po doon sa vaccine czar. Kasi nga po nabanggit po ni Senator Recto na yun nga may provision sana for the logistics, katulad po nitong cold storage. Mabilis na, sir, no? Tama po ba nasimulan na po itong pag-aayos for cold storage, kagaya ng nabanggit niyo before?
Opo, the ball is rolling. Ang DOH naman po may sapat na kakayahan at track record sa pagdidistribute ng mga bakuna. Pero siyempre po, in the next briefings, in fact, it was our intention to present someone from the private sector to discuss the logistics of importation of vaccine that requires sub-zero storage. No? So, lahat po yan ay in process now as we speak dahil alam naman po natin anytime at least one company in China will be given the counterpart of an FDA approval.
Secretary, on another topic, doon naman po sa issue ng red tagging. Sir, considering na iniisip po ng mga otoridad yung kapakanan ng personalities o individuals na maiwas sila sa pag-take advantage ng mga kinukonsider ng pamahalaan na kalaban, does Malacañang support the behavior of law enforcement authorities to call them out publicly? Kailangan po ba talaga i-name tong mga personalities or ipadahayag tong mensahe nila publicly? Hindi po ba pwedeng gawin to privately na hindi sila nare-red tag?
The president has spoken through Secretary Delfin Lorenzana when he warned both police and military authorities to be very careful in red tagging. In fact, ang suggestion nga ni Secretary Lorenzana is no need to publicize kung sino mga suspected communists, just do their job without publicity. Keep quiet. Yan po ang polisiya na sinabi ni Secretary Lorenzana, which he made for and in behalf of the President.
Kumbaga, sir, the Malacañang understands yung concern ng mga ordinaryong mamamayan that somehow it would create a chilling effect among everyone else kung patuloy pong gagawin ito publicly.
Ang sabi po ni Secretary Lorenzana, huwag kayong mag-red tagging kung wala kayong sapat na ebidensya. At manahimik na lang. Kung meron kayong pinagkihinalaan, proceed with your surveillance, and if you have evidence, then file the appropriate criminal complaint.
Salamat po, Secretary.
Thank you, Trish. USEC Roque, please.
Secretary, question from Rosalie Cos of UNTV. Ano po ang IATF policies regarding sa paglikas kapag ganitong may bagyo at may kalamidad na kasabay ng pandemya sa mga taong pupunta po sa evacuation centers? Sasailalim ba muna sa antigen testing bago papasukin or may nakabukod na facility para sa mga taong suspected na may COVID-19?
Alam niyo po, the IATF cannot decide for the NDRMMC officers and officials on the ground. No? They know what is best on the ground as of now. So ang guidelines lang po na in-issue ng NDRMMC includes kinakailangan merong preemptive evacuation, kinakailangan merong mask, shields at saka physical distancing sa mga taong nasa evacuation centers. Kinakailangan wag dadalhin ang mga evacuees sa mga facilities na ginagamit as quarantine sites. Kinakailangan pre-identified and prepared ang evacuation centers na nasa management ng mga LGUs at yung nga pong mga merong symptoms, no matter how mild, should be isolated from the rest of the population who are being evacuated.
Yung second question po ni Rosalie Cos, on distance learning, ano ang plano ng pamahalaan para sa mga kabataang maapektuhan ang home learning bunsod ng kalamidad, walang internet at kuryente, kung worst, nawalan po ng tirahan?
Well, una-una po, no, modular po tayo. Hindi po tayo principally internet-based, no? We are modular. So, ang importante po, ang mga magulang, habang may bagyo, siguraduhin nyo po na kung po pwede mag-aral ng mga bata, pag-aralan yung binigay na modules. Tapos meron pong order ang ating Secretary of Education na lahat po ng mga division ay mag-coordinate with each other. Kailangan mag-provide din ng psychosocial counseling sa mga estudyante. Nananawagan tayo sa DICT na i-monitor po ang performance ng ating internet providers. At sa ngayon po naman tuloy ang learning dahil modular naman po ang ating piniling mode of alternative learning sa mga panahon ng pandemya.
Thank you, Secretary.
Thank you very much, USEC. Melo Acuña, please.
Magandang tanghali po, Secretary. I hope you enjoyed your Sunday. Maganda yung event nyo kahapon. Pero meron pa
Ingit ka, Melo, no?
Ventura ng Philippine Dragon Boat Alliance. Ang kanyang request ay ganito. Kung napayagan na raw po yung basketball at yung sabong, baka raw po pwede na silang payagan sa kanilang pag-iihersisyo at pagsasanay sa dragon boat. Ano po kaya ang inyong maimumungkahi?
Alam mo, I'm one of the supporters of the Philippine Dragon Boat team, no? So ang advice ko po sa kanila, sumulat sila formally sa IATF at aaktuhan naman po ito. I-refer to sa TWG at magkakaroon naman po sila ng desisyon. Ang pagkakaiba kasi sa basketball, yung mga na-aproban natin ay nasa nasa bubble. Yung pupunta sila sa facility na wala ibang papasok, walang lalabas, so nasa bubble sila. Pero kung exercise ang pinag-uusapan, baka naman po mapayagan yan. But I advise them, sumulat po kayo sa IATF.
Opo, maraming salamat po. Dito po sa naganap na bagyong si Quinta, may napuna na po ba kayo na yung mga lumikas sa mga evacuation center ay may sintomas ng COVID-19?
Well, wala pa pong kaming report na nakukuha, bagamat ang guidelines nga po is kahit mild ang symptoms, i-separate na natin sila, no, sa evacuation centers. In other words, merong dapat isolation facility sa mga evacuation centers.
Opo, maiba po ako. Ito po yung aking huling concern for the day. May liham po yung embahada ng Brazil sa Department of Foreign Affairs, copy furnished ang Department of Agriculture. May kinalaman po ito doon sa pagbabawal ng pagpasok ng manok mula sa Brazil. At tila, kung di ako nagkakamali, merong, hindi naman pagbabanta, pero mungkahin na baka sakaling makarating sa WTO ang kanilang agam-agam. Ano po kaya ang inyong masasabi dito?
Sa ngayon po, wala akong nalalaman sa isyong yan. Hindi ko po alam ang tungkol sa liham na yan. So pagbibigay alam ko po sa Department of Agriculture. At yung kanilang banta naman po sa WTO, bring it on. We have proven competence po pagdating sa WTO litigations.
Salamat po. Thank you.
Thank you. USEC Roque, please.
Yes, question, Secretary, question from Rose Novenario of Hataw. Una niyang tanong, tama po ba ang naging desisyon ni Education Secretary Leonor Briones na ginawang prioridad ang pagbili ng 254 units na Mitsubishi pickup sa halagang 1.4 million pesos bawat isa sa panahon ng pandemya?
Alam mo, Rose, uulitin ko yung mga nasabi ko na tungkol din sa white sand, dolomite sa Manila Bay. Lahat po ng napro-procure sa taong ito, matagal na po yang nasa drawing board. Itong pagbili po ng transportasyon ng DepEd, 2016 pa po yan na-identify na pangangailangan ng DepEd at ngayon lang po yan nabili nga, no? Pero yan po included sa 2019 budget. So hindi po yan dinesisyonan sa panahon ng pandemya. Bago pa po dumating ang pandemya, na-aproba na po yan ng budget na yan. At itong mga sasakyan naman po ay ginagamit po para sa mga DepEd engineers, yung gumagawa ng classrooms, yung disaster inspection, module distribution, no? At saka ginagamit din po yan ng field offices at saka ng mga iba pang mga opisyalis ng DepEd, no, na importanteng makaikot sa panahon ng pandemya.
Ang second question niya, Secretary, ilang buwan na lang ay matatapos na ang termino ng Administrasyong Duterte pero hindi pa rin nababayaran ang mga benepisyo ng mga obrero ng state-run broadcast networks gaya ng IBC13 at PTV4. Hindi natutupad ang wage hike alinsunod sa kanilang Collective Bargaining Agreement o CBA. Ano ang gagawin ng palasyo para aksyonan ito ni PCOO Secretary Martin Andanar?
Siguro, USEC Roque, as USEC of PCOO, you'll be in a better position to answer that.
Thank you, Secretary.
Thank you po. Joseph Morong, please, of GMA.
And sir, okay,
Natawa
questions
ka
about
dyan,
the president first.
Joseph,
the president is in Davao. Since when and why is he in Davao? And then, sir, yung sinabi niyo po na hindi siya makaintay ng Abril and he wants to be vaccinated next week. Can we get the context of when and why did he say this?
Well, it's generally an expression of frustration like the rest of the country, no? Na hindi na siya makaantay hanggang Abril kasi that was when Secretary Duque said that the vaccine would be available, no? Pero ang sabi naman ni Secretary Duque, which the President agreed, no? Antayin po natin ang FDA approval. In other words, kung totoo, as Ambassador Chito said, kasi the context was, we were discussing the possible approval in China of a first vacuum, which even without approval is being used on the military and the frontliners in China. Yun nga po yung sinasabi ni Dr. Lulu Bravo na emergency use. So ang tanong was, pwede na ba ako? So ang sabi naman ni Secretary Duque and the President agreed, antahin naman po natin ang FDA approval. It's for your safety at pumayag naman po ang Presidente na mag-antay ng FDA approval. Pero according nga to Dr. Lulu Bravo, no, and that's why I invited her today, kapag meron Chinese approval, hindi naman indispensable na mag-clinical trials muli sa Pilipinas. Ang importante magkaroon ng literature review para masigurado na ligtas talaga yung bakunang yon. So we don't really have to wait for a clinical trial kung meron ng FDA approval ang isang vaccine. Ngayon po kasi lahat nag-clinical trial kasi wala pang nai-issuehan ng kahit anong FDA approval anywhere in the world.
Sir, yung si Presidente, why is he in Davao and since when?
Because he's been in Manila for 3 weeks already, no? So parang may pattern naman ngayon, no? Na 3 weeks in Manila, 1 week in Davao.
Okay. Sir, yun pong sa PhilHealth, short question, mukhang hindi magkakabayaran based on what the DOJ said. Hindi magbabayad?
As we speak po, the DOH is in consultation with 8 private labs with equivalent capacity to the testing being done by Philippine Red Cross, and they were all assured by PhilHealth, number 1, the funds are there. Kinakailangan lang siyempre mag-require sa requirements at sumunod sa accounting procedures. Kasama na po yung pricing range depending on kung donated ang machines at donated ang testing kits. As we speak now, DOH is meeting with these 8 private laboratories with combined testing capacity equivalent to the testing being conducted by the Red Cross. Para nga po hindi maantala ang pag-uwi na ating mga kababayan.
Okay, sir, procedure first, no? para dun sa mga OFW na uuwi, pagdating nila sa airport, sino yung magte-test sa kanila? Explain to us the procedure and magkano yung dapat nilang binabayaran. And then related, because the DOH is already talking to 8 private labs, ibig bang sabihin yan, sir, hindi mo na babayaran yung PhilHealth for a little while? Ay, yung Red Cross for a little while?
First question mo, no? Pare-pareho lang naman nagsaswab dyan eh. Ang nagsaswab naman dyan, Coast Guard at saka Bureau of Fire Personnel. Ang issue lang, sang dadaling laboratorio. Ngayon po, dinadala natin yan sa mga government laboratories gaya ng Lingad dyan po sa Pampanga dahil malaki rin ang kapasidad nila. At meron din mga government labs na nagtetest dyan, RITM, PGH. So marami naman po, hindi dahilan para tuluyang matigil ang testing ng mga OFWs dahil tumigil ang testing ng Red Cross. Mababayaran sila o hindi? Well, sabi nga po ng DOJ opinion, this is subject to, and I quote again, completeness of the requirements and compliance with accounting and auditing rules and procedures. There's no other way out, Joseph. You really have to comply with accounting rules and auditing rules and procedures.
Okay, so sir, so talagang maghihimay muna ng ng books. Sir, magkano dapat yung babayaran ng mga OFW sa airport? Because there are reports na para mapabilis yung swab test results, magbabayad sila ng 20,000. What are we doing
Wala po
to
yan.
prevent that
Libre
if it's
po.
happening?
Libre po
And
mga OFWs.
that's
Joseph, libre ang mga OFWs ang magbabayad po niyan, OWA. Kaya naman yan po ang
Okay.
assurance natin sa mga private labs. Wag po kayo mag-alala. Hindi po kayo ma-PPRC dahil subject naman talaga po for reimbursement ng PhilHealth ang test na to be given to OFWs, no? At lahat naman po ng mga private labs providers know how they can collect from PhilHealth.
Sir, sa vaccine na lang, sino po yung in charge sa paghahanap or pag-establish ng cold chain storage facility, negotiations with other governments for potential vaccine source, and then the funding? Because these are at least 3 components of the vaccine, strategy, kung halimbawa meron tayo niyan. And tama ba, sir, that Malacañang will appoint a vaccine SAR or enough na yung NTF-IATF?
Number 1, financing has long been in place. So tapos na yung usapin na yan. Pagdating po dun sa
Okay.
cold storage, siyempre po, DOH pa rin ang merong lead po dyan kasi sila rin yung mag-accredit na mga cold storage facilities. No? Bagamat nagkakaroon po ng consultations with PITC at saka with other governments pursuant to the one nation approach. No? And number 3, the concept of a vaccine SAR na tututok dun sa importation at saka doon sa logistics has been discussed. In fact, 2 months ago, the President designated one, kaya lang ayaw magpa-announce ng taong yon until the President reiterates na dinesignate nga siya. No? At pang-apat po, it's a whole nation approach po. No? Ang mga ambassadors natin in the different countries that are developing vaccines are proactive in ensuring and negotiating with the companies that we will have a just share of the vaccine once developed.
All right, sir. Thank you for your time, sir.
Thank you, Joseph. USEC Roque, please.
Question from Sam Medenilia. Is there an existing price freeze on some basic goods after President Duterte decided to extend the state of the national calamity up to next year? If there is no longer any price freeze, is the government considering implementing it again while the state of national calamity is still in effect?
Okay. Alam niyo po, merong maximum kasi na period when we can impose price freeze, no, which is 60 days upon declaration of calamity, emergency, and other circumstances. No? Hindi naman po pwede na i-impose ito paulit-ulit, no? Maski na-extend na yung declaration of state of emergency noong Setyembre for another 6 months. For the time being po na napaso na yung price freeze, meron po tayong suggested retail price ang pinatutupad by way of price ceiling. Ito po ay minomonitor ng DTI at ang mga lalabag meron din pong ipapataw na kaparusahan.
Opo, ang second question po niya, after po mag-disclose na po ang DOJ na position regarding po sa loan payment for Philippine Red Cross, may timeline na po kaya ang government kung kailan mababayaran ang first half ng nasabing utang at saan din po kukunin ang pambayad sa nasabing utang?
In fairness po to PhilHealth, and this was in fact relayed to me by no less than Executive Secretary Medialdea, we're willing to pay 50% right now. Pang pagkakaintindi ko po, ayaw pumayag ng PNRC until it is full payment. But if they accept 50% right now, babayad po sa kanila 50%. Pero syempre po, dapat ituloy naman ang testing.
Okay. Ang third question po niya, kinukonsider po kaya ni President Duterte ang proposal to create a task force to investigate rice smuggling? If yes, which agency po ang magli-lead ng task force?
Hindi ko pa po alam kung mag-create siya ng task force kasi pagdating po sa rice smuggling, nagkaroon na tayo ng liberalization. So that's a big discouragement for those who will smuggle kasi legal na po ang pagpasok ng bigas. Dati-rati po na kinakailangan may authorization for importation coming from NFA, napakataas po ng temptasyon, no? Kasi napakahirap po ng proseso. Pero ngayong na it's been liberalized, I think hindi na po masyado problema ang smuggling ng bigas dahil meron na pong taripa na babayaran at ang taripa naman po pupunta rin sa mga ating mga magsasaka.
Thank you, Secretary.
Thank you. We'd like to welcome for the first time MJ Bianca Flor of Daily Tribune, please. Wala kang audio, MJ. MJ, wala kang audio. Wala pa ring audio. Wala ka pa ring audio.
Good afternoon po.
Yes, good afternoon. Ikaw pala si MJ. Palagi kang binibilin
Yes.
sa akin ni editor mo, si Mr. Fernandez. Oh. Yes, go.
Sir, my question po is about the PBA bubble because a basketball player tested positive for COVID-19 inside the bubble. So my question, sir, is will the IATF probe possible violation or breach of protocols inside the PBA bubble po?
This has been addressed by both the PBA and the BCDA. No? In isolation po yung nag-develop ng coronavirus at saka in isolation din po yung those with close contact. No? Pero the bubble is still intact po. It just so happened. No? Pero manageable naman po ang situation because of the existing bubble. So tuloy pa rin po yan.
So a probe is no longer needed, Secretary?
Hindi na po dahil sila po ay nag-contact tracing at ilan lang naman po sila dyan. So madali ang contact tracing.
Okay po. Follow up ko lang po yung question. How will the government address ito nga pong reports that some Filipinos upon their arrival at the airports are being charged for COVID-19 tests which are supposedly free? Ano pong hakbang ang gagawin natin dito to
Linawin
address
ko
this
po,
matter?
ang libre po yung mga OFWs. Yung mga membro po ng PhilHealth, syempre po, PhilHealth ang dapat magbayad dyan, no? Dahil that's part of their benefits under PhilHealth kung kasali po sila sa expanded guidelines ng COVID testing. No? So ang mga pribadong individual po na hindi magbabayad dahil hindi pa sila covered na expanded PhilHealth coverage ng COVID testing, sila lang po yung magbabayad. Pero kung mga
Salamat po.
OFWs po, libre po sila.
Thank you, Secretary.
Thank you, MJ, and welcome. USEC Roque, please.
Yes, Secretary, last question na to from Tuesday New. Halos 1 week na lang po at magre-retire na si PNP Chief General Cascolan sa November 3. Meron na po bang napili si Pangulong Duterte na ipapalit sa kanya bilang susunod na PNP Chief o i-extend ng Pangulo ang kanyang termino?
Hindi ko po alam. 1 week is still 1 week. Antayin po natin ang desisyon ng Presidente. Okay?
Okay,
So
thank
kung
you,
wala na
Secretary.
pong katanungan, unang-una, salamat po kay Dr. Lulu Bravo. Maraming salamat sa lahat ng men and women comprising the Malacañang Press Corps. Thank you very much, USEC Roque. And thank you very much to the Filipino nation for continuing to patronize our press briefing on at least 3 times a week. No? So sa ngalan po ng inyong Presidente, Rodrigo Roa Duterte, na magsasalita at mag-uulat muli sa taong bayan mamayang gabi, ito po ang inyong Spox. Harry Roque nagsasabi, Pilipinas, konting tulog na lang, nandyan ang bakuna, and we will heal as one. Magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat.